Put my phone on do not disturb. Let the notifications go out. You're not supposed to cough while I'm on camera, by the way. Nobody's here yet because this is not actually officially starting until 2. So, but it is being recorded, so you've got to stop coughing. Yep, no coughing allowed during a live. You have to stop being human. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. Say hello in the chat. Let me know you're here as you file in. And today we're going to be talking about the Polybomb, which is it's actually a pretty new concept to me, and I'm not sure it's a terribly helpful one as far as thoughts go. Hello, Berserker Zod. Zod. I really like that. That's going to make me giggle. So thank you for showing up with that particular screen name because that makes me giggle. Okay, so the Polybomb. Let's talk a little bit about the Polybomb, and let's talk a little bit about It's Not Cheating. So I am going live each weekday for the next 2 weeks with a little tidbit or thought or idea about non-monogamy. And we are having this event. It's Not Cheating. It's ethical and consensual non-monogamy, which you can see the link for right there, notcheating.com. And so this week, I'm going to be talking about random little bits related to non-monogamy and sort of give you my thoughts, my feedback, my understanding of them. Also, next week at this same time, I'll be doing the non-monogamy challenge. I'll pop that in there. So that's notcheating.com/challenge. You can get signed up right now and get in there and sort of start the pre-gaming as we start letting people into the challenge. That's going to be a 5-day focus in on important ideas and concepts related to successful non-monogamy, dating, mating, and relating in multiples. It's Not Cheating and the non-monogamy challenge are both free to attend live. So feel free to join up, be a part of this. The idea is to help y'all date, mate, and relate in multiples more successfully, or because I am not a proselytizer, I am not a zealot, to help you determine that maybe non-monogamy isn't for you, or maybe it is for you, but to find your personal space in non-monogamy. Also at itsnotcheating.com, right here, you could click on Get Plus More if you want to get replays. So it is absolutely free to join It's Not Cheating live. If you'd like to get the replays of It's Not Cheating when we go through the weekend, it's a whopping $17. And that will get you not only the replays of the weekend, but it'll get you all of the replays from our previous weekend in 2020. And it'll get you all of the non-monogamous replays. I think there's like 23 of them now from 2020 to this year and beyond. And it will get you access to my It's Not Cheating book. And I'll just keep going. And it will give you access to the It's Not Cheating book rewrite that I'm going to be doing live. So you can get in there and you can be a part of that book rewrite. And it'll get you some special events and perks and so on and so forth. So $17, that's a steal. If you add $10 onto that, that gets you the multi add-on. So if you have multiple partners, $10 will allow you to add up to 4 people in your life to have access to the It's Not Cheating plus more along with you. So you can all discuss, watch, listen, whatever. So yeah, that's my little spiel at the front of this. Um, hey, Ricky, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, I've been recovering from my surgery. And remember, for those of you who do follow me online, I will be going back in for 2 more surgeries on February 3rd. And so I will be absent again from lives for a little while, probably a month and a half or so again. And then hopefully back and better than ever. Those surgeries are going to be a little bit more complex, serious. I don't know. But hopefully I will recover as well from those as I did from this last one. So thank you. Thank you for having me back. Thank you for expressing your appreciation. Hello, KS. Always a pleasure to see you. Yes, Nookie is back in the house. You say, I know the definition of cheating, but I don't know what it really means. Okay, let's start there real quick because when I talk about it's not cheating, and we're focusing in on non-monogamy, right? So when I say non-monogamy is not cheating, it doesn't mean that non-monogamy is monogamy, right? Like a lot of people like sort of focus in on monogamy as like the gold standard and anything else is cheating. Whereas what we're going to do is we're going to, in fact, I'm going to type into Google right now, define cheating. Cheat, act dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain an advantage, especially in a game or examination. There you go. And what is defined as cheating in a relationship? This one says the act of being unfaithful to a spouse or other partner. Okay, so let's go with those definitions, right? Act dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain an advantage, or being unfaithful to a spouse or other partner. So, dishonestly or unfairly to me means, especially when it comes to like non monogamy and other alternative relationships, is acting in a way that you have said you would not. Right? So, in monogamy, we say, okay, we're going to be monogamous. You and I are going to reserve love, sex, and romance. That's usually the triad there, right? Love, sex, and romance, especially like pair bonded love, not like family love or kid love, but love, sex, and romance. We're going to reserve that for the 2 of us. That's monogamy. So in non-monogamy, cheating is saying something like, we are going to reserve this for us, or I will make sure you are aware of X, or I will always tell you how I'm feeling about Y, and then not doing it, right? So negotiating a relationship and then being dishonest or unfair about how you act within those negotiated standards, if that makes sense. And Roger, hey, how are you doing today? My hair is driving me crazy, y'all, so I'm just going to be. Never understood the term ethical non-monogamy. I assume it's because your partner has agreed to let you have sex with others. Not sure I agree that it's ethical, but to each its own. Okay, so ethical. Oh, wait, one more thing. I want to go back to that KS. I'm going to get to you, Roger, because that's a good point. KS. Also, let me touch on that bit. The act of being unfaithful to a spouse or other partner, because I think faithful is a key. So, what is faithful to you? To me, Being faithful is creating agreements with me and then living up to them consistently. Loving me consistently, treating me well consistently. In this case, like for example, with my partner, if we engage with other people, being faithful is being open and honest about that. Like, I don't care if you engage with somebody, but I want to know. Or like with my partner, when we are at a play party, if my partner is going to play or have a scene with somebody, being faithful to me is coming to me and engaging with me about it, making sure that like I don't have other plans for that time period, that he can go ahead and do that, and letting me know when it's going to happen so I can watch or not watch as I see fit. Okay. So faithful, right? And what faithful might mean to you could be radically different. So let's go back to Roger. Sorry, I was jumping ahead there and I wanted to make sure. So ethical non-monogamy. Let's talk about ethics. And I'm just going to type in ethical because I like to use definitions so that we're all on the same page. Ethical, referring to moral principles or the branch of knowledge dealing with these. Okay, so morality, right? So let's define moral because I want to see just off the cuff. Where are we here? Moral, concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness or badness of human character. Okay, there we go. So back in the day on OkCupid, and we're going to get to the Polybomb in just a second. I think these are important things to start off with today. Back in the day of OkCupid, there was a question, do you believe that morality is universal? And anyone that said yes, I would immediately know that they were not a match for me, because morality is primarily based in how you are raised and socialized. So if we think about the principles of right and wrong and goodness or badness, to me, it is not wrong to engage in pair bonded relationships, in romance, or in sex with more than one person. There is nothing right or wrong. There is nothing wrong with that, right? It is not up to me to determine what another human can do with their life. Now, if I'm in a relationship with them, we have various agreements between ourselves, right? But I do not say it is wrong for them to feel what they feel or to experience what they experience. And then you also mentioned, and this is a little nitpick. You say, I assume it's because your partner has agreed to let you have sex with others. My quibble is, from my perspective, how I do non-monogamy is nobody gets to let me do anything. In fact, I don't, quote unquote, let my partner do anything either. He is his own human. We have agreements around how we handle those things because we're in love and we want to treat each other with respect. So, Ricky, is it okay for me to ask if you are completely in charge of your relationship? I see this as an FLR thing. I am actually in a power exchange relationship with my partner, and I am completely in charge. However, to me, that is separate from the ethics of non-monogamy. And I say that because, again, going back to what you were saying, Roger, ethics are in non-monogamy. What do I believe is ethical? What does my partner believe is ethical? And then how do we create a relationship where our ethics guide it? The relationship that he and I have together. That's what makes it ethical non-monogamy. It's no different than in a monogamous relationship. because you can be unethical in a monogamous relationship without having sex with somebody or falling in love with somebody or being romantic with somebody, right? There are other ways to be unethical. It's the same thing in non-monogamy. We talk about ethical non-monogamy. I use ethical because there is also consensual non-monogamy, which is a whole nother thing. And maybe I'll rant about that a little bit later this week because I prefer the term ethical because reasons. Okay, so let's talk about what we're here for today, which is the polybomb. Okay, again, this is a term I just recently heard about. And I was like, what the heck is a polybomb? So, a polybomb is when somebody is in a monogamous relationship with someone else and they drop the fact that they are polyamorous and will be or already dating others onto a monogamous partner without giving them the respect and compassion of creating a conversation and then just kind of expecting them to deal with it. Sort of like on my trip to Europe last week, I met this person and I really have feelings for them. So I've decided that I'm polyamorous. I need to be able to see other people or we break up. That is a polybomb. Because what you're doing is you're taking a lot of conversation and feeling, and you're forcing that into your partner's lap, making them responsible for diffusing their feelings, which, I mean, if that happens in the middle of a monogamous relationship, they're bound to have big feelings, right? So you're forcing that responsibility on them to diffuse their feelings quickly to accept what you have just said, or boom, the relationship ends. Just like that, right? So could you shoot a note to Puck and let him know that I'm on live? Sorry, my partner just texted me and I forgot to let him know I was going on live. So polybombing is taking the entire conversation that would normally go along with opening up and essentially saying, hey, I've noticed this thing about myself and I guess, I'm just going to be there and you're going to have to deal with it or else. Right? And condensing what compassionately would be an ongoing conversation and discussion into a very neat, very volatile relationship bomb. Y'all with me on this one? Does that make sense? So the key here is that, discovering that you're polyamorous or that you have feelings or instincts towards non-monogamy is not in and of itself polybombing. It's that you're taking all of this suddenly without prior communication of any existing unhappiness, any existing discussion with your partner, and putting them on the spot, right? Dropping it on them that you're suddenly polyamorous and you either are or will be dating others without any, feedback or conversation or whatever, and without giving them the time to really process what you're saying before you say it's my way or the highway. So essentially, you're making this decision for them without even speaking to them about it. And you're either expecting them to go along with it or to immediately end the relationship. Now, there are other ways to do this too. Like, it doesn't have to be from monogamy to polyamory. I mean, maybe it won't be called a polybomb, but think about how we sometimes drop emotional bombs into our partner's lap and how around non-monogamy that could happen. Now, Roger, I would say, bye-bye, have a good life. Yeah, you might. However, not everybody is going to do that. Is that right or wrong? Not up to me to say. Frankly, I think if a partner is not up to having the communication that goes into non-monogamy and suddenly comes at you and says, okay, it's going to be this, or I'm gone after, 10 years or whatever it is, I don't know that there's a whole lot you can do about that. Like, how do you come back from that as a partnership? And if you're the person who's suddenly having all of these big feels about what you want to do, and you're thinking about talking to your partner about maybe stepping into non-monogamy or stepping into polyamory, we'll talk about that in just a minute. So let's think about other types of bombs, though, that we could do within non-monogamy. Like, what if all of a sudden you've decided to change the structure or the agreements of your non-monogamous relationship in any major ways? Like, suddenly going from an agreed on structure to another without giving full room to discussion. So let's say that you've both been swingers for a long time. And swinging tends to focus primarily on the sexual aspect of things, the physical connections, right? I'm not saying that there aren't any emotional connections, but it focuses primarily on the physical connections. And you say, you know what? We've been swinging for all this time, and I have been talking with this swing partner that we have, and all of a sudden I'm in love, and we have to go full on kitchen table polyamory, create an entire like family and bring this person into our lives and introduce them to our kids and tell our parents, or I'm going to leave you. Right? That seems to me like that would be just as much of a bomb. And people do this a lot in kink and in non-monogamy. Like in kink, oh, I've been wanting to be spanked. I've been following like spanking blogs for a year or two, and I've been looking at spanking porn and checking out spanking tumblers and, whatever. And then you bring this to your partner and you say, look, I've decided I need to be spanked or I'm never going to be happy and I'm going to have to leave this relationship. And your partner, having never heard the word spank from you before in their lives, is left, oh, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, I don't even know what spanking is. Like, so rather than bombing people, start the conversation, right? If you've been with somebody for 10 years and you have been thinking, holy gosh, I think I'd really like to explore some sort of non monogamy. Now, that could be swinging, that could be open relationships, that could be cuckolding, it could be cuckweening, it could be casual play, right? It could be full polyamory. If you've been with somebody for 10 years and you have an overall good relationship with them and you think now you want to explore non monogamy, is it going to kill you to start the conversation where they can possibly access it and build up in a way that allows them to gain some comfort with even the terms that you're talking about, right? What the hell is polyamory? How does that fit into our lives? What about our kids? What about our family? What about our jobs? How does this look to you? How might this look to me? What are we going to do if, this happens? What are we going to do if that happens? Dropping it as a bomb on somebody is an act of desperation sometimes. In other times, it might just be a kind of asshole move. Like, okay, I'm going to say this thing and I'm going to drop it on you. And that way you're the jerk that ends the relationship. Right? Or you're going to agree to it, even if you're not like totally into it. And then the relationship is going to die a slow, painful death. But hey, at least we tried, right? But how can you come back from that sort of bombing? You can't really. I mean, that it shows a lack of compassion and respect for your partner. Or, like I said, it could be huge desperation. But the reason that desperation is there is because you're not communicating. You're not communicating in your relationship with the little things to build up and continue creating that partnership as you move forward. KS, what if you have a regular relationship and you want to explore to excite things? Start small. Find a article online and share it with your partner and say, hey, I saw this thing. What do you think? And start talking about it, right? Hey, I've heard some people really enjoy, or I've always been curious about going to a swing club. What do you think about that? Right? Rather than, I've decided that a swing club is where I need to live the rest of my life. And if you don't go with me, no more relationship for you. Right? Ricky, I was close to that point in my life, but it was not an either or. It was a please consider. We are still best friends and love each other, but our sex life is dead. And that could mean opening up, right? But that's between the two of you. I don't ever tell people what to do. There are just so many options available to us if we truly love each other and want each other to be happy. And if not, Splitsville is fine too. Relationships don't have to last forever in order for them to be successful. If you can break up and still be good friends, that's also a successful relationship as far as I'm concerned. Oops, Allie, I did that with my ex-husband around 10 years ago. Looking back, it was horrible how I approached it. You live and you learn, right? I'm not talking about polybombing as a way to tear open old wounds, right? And I'm not going to, you shouldn't have, rah, rah, rah. No. I'm saying moving forward, right? We did, every single one of us, all the mistakes we've made in our lives, we did the best we could when we were there, out of desperation, out of fear, out of need, whatever it was, we did the best we could. Now, moving forward, hopefully we do better, right? My friend and I have been exploring a kink by sharing porn, talking about it before, during, and after sex. Finally, went to a place where people do the things, but just us for now. See, there you go. Sharing articles, talking about it. If you're open to it, fantasizing about it before, during, and after sexual engagements, right? I in my So What is Kinky Anyway book, I talk about how to bring up the subject of kink. And one of the things I talk about is, do you know how to bring up any subject? Do you know how to talk in depth about things that are deeply intimate and potentially hurtful? Because if you don't, that's where you start, right? You can't talk about kinky sex if you don't know how to talk about sex. Like, can you say to your partner, hey, that thing you did last night, I really loved it. Or, hey, that thing you did last night, I didn't love it. I thought I would, but I didn't. Or, hey, that thing you did last night, I would really love it if you would do that while you were calling me a dirty girl. Right? Can you talk to your partner about things like that? That really, really helps going into conversations like this. Hey, I saw this article about people who are doing polyamory, and I thought it was really interesting. What do you think? Can you have those kinds of conversations? Roger, I couldn't. My wife asked to have sex with others by herself. I said no. She cheated once again. Bye bye. Absolutely. I mean, that is a valid response. Cheating is cheating. If you agree to something and somebody does something else, regardless of who they are authentically, that's still cheating. Like, I've always felt like I'm non-monogamous, but I've never cheated on anybody. I've never said to somebody, I will be faithful to you, and then had sex with somebody else or pair bonded with somebody else. Or I've never done that. You know why? Because it's fucking cheating. And that's wrong. And it doesn't matter who I am deep inside of me. If I gave my word, then if we're going to change that, we're going to have a discussion and I'm going to break up with them if it doesn't work, right? But first, I'm going to have that discussion with them. And I'm going to be as compassionate as possible about that discussion. And hopefully, they will be as compassionate as possible with me about that discussion, because that is also very telling, right? How our partners actually engage with us when we have these conversations, right? So it's frustrating about, like, when we've been in a relationship for years and you bottle all this unhappiness up and you don't communicate that something is wrong. And then you suddenly say, hey, I just realized I need this and I need you to be okay with it because I already have somebody lined up that I want to boink. Take it or leave it. Wow. Right? How would you like it if somebody handed that to you? So, hey, so I've learned this thing about myself, that when I read things like articles about polyamory or articles about swinging or articles about non-monogamy, I feel good. I feel like that's right for me. And I feel like I might need this in the long run to be happy and authentic in who I am. And I also know that this is not what you signed up for when we started this whole relationshiping thing. So I'd like to spend some time discussing this with you and giving you some time and space to come to terms with this, to figure out, how you feel about it, and maybe ask me questions, and maybe we can do some research together or attend some webinars together, and decide if we're able to continue this on like a fully open relationship level, or if you think you might be poly or non-monogamous, or maybe there's some sort of like mono-poly type relationship we can do, um, or if it's something that is just not going to work. The thing is, whatever you choose, I want you to choose what's in your best interests. And I want to be able to explore what I think is in my best interests. And I will still love you no matter what. And I'd love to continue our relationship as strongly as we both feel is possible. Right? Or something like that. I mean, I'm just making words up right now. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when we polybomb our partners, actually, you know what? Scratch. Back up just a little bit. So here's the thing about the bomb. I have learned over the years that any deep or complex topic dropped in my partner's lap as an ultimatum, or as a "we must talk about this now" type of thing, that has not been brought up before, or has not been brought up recently or over time in a compassionate way, is unfair. Because, and I think y'all can recognize this, when you have been playing this challenge, this problem over and over in your own head, you know what you're thinking about it, right? Like, you have the words. You've been thinking, oh, and then there's this. Oh, yeah. And then there's this other thing. And you've got the outline for the conversation in your mind, right? And so when you drop that on your partner's lap and say, "we have to talk about this now," it's unfair. And do you know why it's unfair? Because they've had no time to think about it, or to come to grips with the idea that there's going to be a conversation. Polybombing is that, only specifically focused in on non-monogamy, polyamory, and oftentimes, potentially, the trigger is that, you already found that person on the side. Sorry. Right? And you're trying to justify this cheating or these feelings by forcing your partner to accept it. I'm not saying you're wrong to have feelings. You are not wrong to have feelings. Whatever your feelings are, they exist. What you do with those feelings, and whether or not you handle them ethically and fairly and faithfully to the people who already exist in your life, that is what makes the difference, in my view. In your view, you might be like Roger. You might be like, "fuck you," right? In my view, it's about how we engage and how we handle things together, collaboratively, in our partnerships. Ricky, I feel shame for being a beta. I think most all women don't like it. My wife, who is a beautiful alpha goddess, was sure making me her slave would ruin us. I mean, I think there's a difference between somebody being a submissive, or in the case of a relationship, the beta, and somebody being non-functional in daily life, right? That's more of a power exchange issue, but definitely a good point. Cobalt, do you think sometimes people do it because changing is scarier and it's easier to spit it out and get over with? Absolutely. And that's kind of what I meant. Perhaps I didn't say it well, but that's what I meant when I said desperation, right? Like I feel like I need to say this. I need to be myself. I need to break out of this cocoon and I got to do it now. And so blah, 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 word vomit all over the place without thinking about how to be compassionate to the person that we're word vomiting all over. The person, theoretically, that we love, or the people, in the case of being, like bombing an existing set of non-monogamy dynamics and throwing something different into the mix, right? Desperation, the world's worst cologne. Yeah, 100%, Ryan. Absolutely. So, if you have any additional questions about polybombing, throw that into the chat. Just a real quick reminder, we've got It's Not Cheating, it's ethical non-monogamy, or It's Not Cheating, and it's also not all polyamory. Coming up, that will be June 27th through 29th. It is free to attend live. You can register right there. And if you would like to join the 5-day non-monogamy challenge, right there, notcheating.com/challenge. That again is also free. It will get you in to the challenge, which will start next Monday. And we're going to be focusing in on what I consider to be the 5 most critical foundational thought processes for successful non-monogamy. We're going to dig deep into non-monogamy from the perspective of labels. What's the second day? I'm asking my assistant Celine what the second day is.
Let's open.
Oh yeah, opening up. How to open up not only new relationships, like we're stepping into non-monogamy or poly for the first time, but opening up with an existing relationship that maybe has been non-monogamous for a while, or has been, just a small number of people, and adding people in, that can also really be stressful. We're going to be talking about jealousy. We're going to be talking about compersion. And then we're going to be talking about the best rules for a successful non-monogamous relationship. Look at that. Ryan is popping the days right there into the chat. So, yeah. And Ryan says, we are 90% of the way to a completed schedule for the It's Not Cheating weekend. So super excited about that. I'll be teaching 3 workshops for that. So join us at It's Not Cheating for the challenge. Join us for the weekend. They are free to be a part of. We would love to have you. And I will be back tomorrow with another non-monogamy topic, rant, whatever. Not quite sure what it's going to be about. Celine didn't get to come in last Friday, so we are working together today. Hopefully, we will get those topics in place today, and I will be more on top of my schedule for the next 2 weeks. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. It has been a real pleasure to have you. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. You can find us at, let me type this in here and put it up. And then see phone. There we go. Put that into the chat. And there you go. hello@curiouser.life. Or you can text us right there, 919-299-1108. hello@curiouser.life or 919-299-1108. Thanks you all and see ya tomorrow.